What's up, everybody? So my name is Stefan Olson. I am the owner of Home Wash Services. Today, I'm just kind of doing like a off-the-cuff podcast geared towards people who are kind of new towards business. This will be just pretty much information that I kind of have learned throughout the years, and I figured I'd start off with a digital product that I had put out there. So the name of the digital product is called Pressure Washing Clip Notes. Basically, it's a guide for people who are interested in getting into pressure washing or pressure cleaning. And, basically, I wanted to I didn't want to hype it up, I'll put it that way. And so where it comes into play for pretty much everybody else is when it comes to kind of like the mindset and tips and tricks that will kind of help you with business in general. Okay. And so I figured I'd go ahead and talk about, those type of things. If there's anything else that you guys are interested in, feel free to, drop a comment in I guess, the likes or whatever. I'm not really sure. This is Restream, so I'm kind of new with it. But I will be checking the chat box periodically. How about that? All right. So with that being said, when it comes to business in general, like coming up with ideas, excuse me, maybe I should have like some water. Back in the olden days in California, during the miner rush where everybody was going out there for gold, initially the ones that were making the money were the miners, the ones that were finding those big gold pockets. As time progressed, though, basically these little cities popped up that were supplying the miners. And now they're also known as ghost towns because basically as the miners moved along, everybody just abandoned those towns. Anyway, with that being said, the suppliers of the miners were really the ones that were winning. So for a product that may have cost, let's say, $1 today, they were selling it for like up to $100, maybe $300 for like a shovel or something like that, So the turnaround profit for those things were substantial, and the suppliers in the long run were pretty much the winners. So when it comes to a product, when it comes to affiliate marketing, when it comes to a service, I would suggest something that definitely is in demand and has shown consistent demand. That's just my personal take on it. So the books that I would recommend, either being in business or prior to getting into business, would be these here. The E-Myth by Michael Gerber is a beautiful book. Talks about what is it that you want to get out of business. It also talks about how you can take yourself out of the business. And then it really focuses in on like the customer experience and how you want to continually provide the same experience for the customer, tweak it along the way and make it better, obviously. But you want to give people something that is consistent, kind of like when you get a haircut, right? You go to the haircut, now they have, oh, this is how you had it, within their notes. And then, Stefan, would you like to have, one of those hot towels and a massage afterwards? Sure. What about a hair wash? Sure. So each time, you would get the same results. 4-Hour Workweek by Timothy Ferriss is a beautiful book when it comes to finding products and breaking out of the 9-to-5 and typical hardwired mentality that we have, or what's been ingrained into us, you might say. He does a wonderful job of really just breaking it down for you, and lots of valuable tools within that book. Highly recommend that. Another highly recommended book is by Christopher Voss. He's a former FBI negotiator. Good book, guys. I mean, never split the difference, negotiating as your life depended on it. Something that I need to go over again, but it helps when it comes to sales, negotiation, even, talking with your kids and getting things out of them, you might say. But it's something that definitely good for, for business. The Strangest Secret in the World by Earl Nightingale. Earl Nightingale was a salesman from many years past. The records were recorded and was made available. How would I put it? I mean, basically, it's just solid advice. Business principles. It helps you when it comes to coming up and with ideas or generating ideas. Earl Nightingale, basically kind of put it into perspective of, put into perspective. So, I mean, basically, if you put yourself out there and you help people and you put your best foot forward, that's wonderful. But within your certain niche, if you see a need, basically address it. If you want to come up with $1 billion idea, the way that you can go about doing that is taking some time for yourself each day, perhaps early in the morning, take a sip of coffee and basically just start writing out ideas that pertain to your field. And as you progress along, eventually within, the year, you're going to come across something that has substance to it. And Earl Nightingale has some really good things that you should have a listen to. So I'd highly recommend, the Stranger's Secret there. So basically, those are kind of books that I would recommend. Napoleon Hill's Master Key, that's like a master class. It'll definitely help you, and things along those natures. All right, so here we are. Now, let's kind of get into the good stuff. So basically, if we go on down, you're going to see some affiliate links and stuff like that for the pressure washing industry. If this is something that you're interested in, guys, feel free to, reach out to me. I'll be happy to help out, where I know. Okay. All right. So setting up a business. Like I said, guys, I'm not, or maybe I didn't say it. I'm not a CPA. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a professional when it comes to that. So don't seek or apply legal advice that I give to you, or whatever I give to you, use with a grain of salt. Contact a professional prior to using, you might say. Okay, so with that being said, I guess Legal Help or Legal Shield is, a place where you'd be able to do that, in addition to, your local lawyers. Okay, so if I were to set up an LLC here in South Carolina, it's pretty straightforward. So I'll just type in like South Carolina business registration. And this is if I were to register a business, so it could be a LLC, sole proprietorship, S corp, list goes on. So when I go on down here, you're going to see business filings, sc.gov. If I click onto that, basically I'll be able to see, if a business is already in use, you might say. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Home wash services. And lo and behold, that is being used because it's being used by me. But let's say I wanted to come up with a business name that isn't being used. Let's say I want to do Brothers for Brothers and Sisters. Wow, something. Okay, beautiful. That name is available. So over here, I would go ahead and add new entity. I would log in, and basically I would go step by step through, the registration process. Now, what this is basically doing is registering your business name with the state. And I know here in South Carolina, I believe it's like $125. In Florida, I believe it was about the same. So it's usually around like $100 to $150, I believe, for most of the states. If it's not under like business registration, you might want to check with Secretary of State. Okay, so once you go through, all those, all that registration stuff, and once you've sent in your payment, now you're registered with your state, and basically what that means is now you are a official business. There are additional steps to that as well, though, and depending on what state, what county and city you're in, you're going to want to find out what other details are needed. But in general, the next step after this is getting an EIN number from the IRS. It's something that's free. Basically, it's kind of like a social security card or social security number for your business, you might say. So once you've got that information as well, now you're able to go over to the county or to the bank and say, hey, let me go ahead and get things going here. So with the county, basically the registration, they have different filing codes, based upon like what kind of service or product that you're in. And, depending on whatever it is you're getting in, I mean, it could be $50 for the registration on up to, I think, like 300 or more, depending on where you're at. For what I was doing in Florida, I believe it was like $80. So, find out with your county. With the bank, you want to get that going as soon as possible. You want to be able to build up business credit. If you have a business address, that will help out greatly. When I signed up with Truist, I have Truist for my banking right now. They set it up with a personal backed credit card, you might say. So, I mean, the business credit card is backed by my personal social security card or social security number. At that time, my credit wasn't the most wonderful, but because it's a business, it's business related. So with that, I was able to get, a chunk of change, for business expenses. And where I would suggest using those business expenses, if you need to use a credit card, would be towards advertising, just because you need to get the business coming in, right? All right, so you have that taken care of. So we have registration with the state, we have registration with the county. Whatever cities you're going to be, serving, you want to get registered with that. Everybody wants a cut of the pie. It is what it is. Okay, so all that being taken care of, now you also want to make sure that you're insured. So don't forget about insurance and whatever other expenses or certifications that are required for your city and state and county. So just know what those things are. Do your due diligence beforehand. Okay, so all that kind of being said there with the crash course, the Small Business Administration also has some great information that you'd be able to partake of, you might say. All right, so we kind of covered this here. How to find customers. Well, Google Maps or Google Business is a beautiful resource. Make sure you learn a little bit about how that works. This is a place where I got business cards, which is relatively inexpensive. Angie Leads, I wouldn't recommend for power washing. I heard Angie Ads works better if you want to go that route. I hear that they are very aggressive when it comes to calling you, so bear that in mind. This, with Thumbtack, I've heard that basically it's good for getting business as well. With that though, you want to be like the first to touch the customer, you might say. You want to be the first one to call them. There are going to be other guys that are going to be contacting them as well. So that's how Thumbtack makes their money. Basically, they'll send out the job and all these guys kind of bid on it. All right, so Facebook is a nice little what do you call it? Nice place for advertising, right? If you want to find out like what your competition is doing when it comes to Facebook, you can click on this link. I'll just go ahead and go up in there. And I'll just type in, or actually, we got here in the United States, yes. We're going to go to all ads. We're going to go over to, let's just say, pressure clean. So this will show all the results that are based, or all the ads that are kind of going on right now. This will help you also too to kind of not only gauge what your competition is doing, but also gauge what might be working. So if you know like a competitor that is really doing well, you could type in their information here and basically pull up all their ads. So that's something that you'd be able to learn from. So I think this is a pretty good tool when it comes to that. Yardbook is a free CRM. So basically, I mean, it's geared towards those who are in the landscaping industry, but that can be tailored towards any service business. And you just kind of like add in your services, your prices. It keeps contact information where you can contact your customers later down the road, and it's a really nice CRM for the money. I mean, basically it's free, to begin with. Where they make their money is when it comes to the Stripe payments. So if you're collecting money from your customers via a credit card, that's where they'll add on the charge, and how they make their money. Overall though, I mean, that it's a really good system. USPS Every Door Direct Mail. I'm going to click on this here. This is kind of neat because it kind of gives you like a heat map of areas where there is deeper pockets, right? So let's say if I'm here in Irmo. Irmo is a decent area. But let's say I want to get something like around maybe 29036. Let's try that instead. Let's clear this out. Okay, well, I guess we'll just kind of do it like this. If I wanted to find out, like ballparkish, like how much is, being made in this area here, the average income over here, you're going to see is like 110,000. What that represents is basically, 691 people in that area. Average age is, over here, and you can kind of play around with this as well. So if I wanted to focus in, let's say, on people that are between the ages of, let's say, 30 and 60, which is more my ideal market, and then I would kind of come down here, and then it's going to say, yeah, this is what we got going on. There are 703 people that match that, or 57.5% of the people in that area, which is pretty cool. I mean, check that out. So you could also use this for direct mail, obviously, and sending out postcards and stuff like that. The library card, if you have one of those, Data Axle is a beautiful tool that you can use that really gets it kind of to the nitty gritty. So once you find one of these neighborhoods where you're able to kind of focus in on, if you're doing like a B2C where you're knocking on doors, basically you can go into Data Axle, you can select like that neighborhood, and you're able to see, okay, well, what's the name of the person at, this house? Ballparkish, how much do they make? How much is the value of their home? Sometimes it'll give details as to, their political or religious affiliation. So kind of like when you knock on that first door, oh, hey, John, my name's Stefan, blah, 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 blah. So, you have somebody who you're trying to look for, right? And then after that, you go into the next door and, hi, Frank. Oh, hey, Frank, I was just talking with John there. I promised him that I would talk with you. Obviously when you're with John, oh, John, I'll promise I'll talk with Frank, that type of thing. So little tricks of the trade kind of helps out. With Boolean operators, those are like bar none one of the most awesome things in like Google when it comes to searching. It allows you to dig deeper, you might say. I was able to find out pricing for the competitors when it came to county bids, and it's just really in-depth type stuff, so pretty much everything that's here on the sheet is something that is geared towards business, specifically, like I said, for pressure washing industry in general. But these other things can be used for business, for your business, right? So I'm gonna, like I said, guys, this is free now. I mean, I've dropped off the price on that. If you want to take a look at it, feel free to download it. It's going to be on PayHip, which is, where's the little link that I have here? think I have it in the description, but if not, basically the PayHip description is for the PayHip link. Oh no, I guess I lost it. Uh-oh. If anything, feel free to reach out to me. It should be there in the description though. All right, so I guess that's kind of like where I'm going to stop off when it comes to like the podcast for today. I mean, I'm kind of going through it. Hope it worked out well, and I guess I'll talk to you guys later. You have a good one. All right, bye.